NFL draft nerds, welcome in and happy mock draft Monday to you all. Today, we've got a fun show. Going to get into this mock draft. It's going to be what I would do. Usually, we're trying to be pretty predictive here. We're trying to figure out what different teams are going to do. And as this coaching hiring cycle kind of starts to wind down, you can get more ideas of what teams actually might be interested in. As free agency, obviously, comes a little bit more than a month away. That's going to continue to give insights as to how teams might play this 2025 NFL draft out. But I just wanted to offer y'all a little bit of what I would do, trying to do the very best I can for each of these teams, right? Getting them moving in the right direction. So I'm excited to do it, a first round mock draft for every single team in the NFL. What I would do, let me know what y'all think in the comment section below about each of these picks. If you enjoy the draft, if you enjoy the content here, please like and subscribe. We are all NFL draft all the time here at Rogue Football. We're going to get this started over at NFL Mock Draft Database. So obviously the Titans are picking at 1. I'm going to have my big board up on the side over here. Y'all aren't going to be able to see that, but I will be certainly keeping it handy because, again, this is what I would do. And look, I've talked about the quarterbacks a lot. I don't believe that either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders is really worthy of being in the consideration at the top of the draft based on the kind of the skill set. Certainly, like Shedeur Sanders does not have any elite traits, point blank period. Cam Ward does have some more big time traits, but also struggles with accuracy at times and has really not had to operate an NFL style offense in any way, shape, or form. So look, they're not for me at the top, and I would advise the Titans, who do need a quarterback, if they were trying to make a play on a big-armed athletic quarterback, you've got one on your roster right now in Will Levis. I know that I don't feel confident in his direction moving forward, but I don't feel confident about Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders either, quite frankly. That's where I'm at. If I was the Titans, I would love to trade out for a team that wants a quarterback. But again, I'm not going to do that because I can't advocate another team doing that, to trading up to get the quarterback here. So they're in a situation where I think they're just going to need to take best player available. Maybe you take a quarterback later in the draft. There's guys you can take swings on here in this draft. That is one thing that's absolutely true. There are quarterbacks in this class that you might be able to take a swing on in the second round, the third round, that could end up getting you to a functional place at quarterback. And then if that doesn't work out, you're in a good position next year, 2026 NFL draft, where there is actually potentially a lot of high quality quarterback talent. Go get your guy then, right? So we're going to take Abdul Carter for the Titans. I absolutely love the fit with him, Jeffrey Simmons, Tavondre Sweat. They got a couple other nice edge defenders. Carter, to me, it's him and Travis Hunter at the top of this draft by themselves. They're absolute freak shows. And they play super valuable positions. Travis Hunter, whether it's wide receiver or corner, highly valuable. Obviously, edge, getting after the quarterback. But Abdul Carter's explosiveness is just so rare. And everybody compares him to Micah Parsons, former linebacker, switching to edge. I honestly think as an edge prospect, I like Abdul Carter more than I liked Micah Parsons. I think he has every bit of the athletic juice that Micah Parsons had, but I think he has better length, and I think he's shown more of a bag, more of a plan than Micah had coming in. And Micah's obviously developed into and was very quickly one of the best players in the NFL. I think Abdul Carter is going to do the exact same thing. I have so much confidence in him here for the Titans. And as someone who covers the Jaguars and actively roots for the Jaguars, I don't love Abdul Carter going to the Titans, but I'm trying to do my best I can here for every single team in the NFL. So Cleveland Browns at number 2, they would have liked to pair Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett. Obviously, that would have been absolutely insane. But, quarterback, again, I'm not going that direction this early in the draft. I'm just not going to do it. I don't feel comfortable staking our franchise the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years on either of these quarterbacks. I'm not there. So, not at this spot. And later in the first round, maybe you can do that and the repercussions aren't as big, right? If you swing and miss on a pick in the 20s, it's not nearly the same miss that it is when you pick in the top 5, top 10. So, looking at these guys, I've got to go give them the Travis Hunter, whether it's at corner or receiver. You feel really good about it. At corner, I think when you look at pairing him with Denzel Ward, you're back to having one of the best cornerback duos in football. It kind of fell off a little bit this year with Emerson not playing as well. Obviously, Newsome hasn't kind of lived up to his draft pedigree either, and he's a talented player, but he hasn't been as good as they would have hoped. So Travis Hunter, whether it's corner or wide receiver, I'm all in on that pick for the Cleveland Browns. Would love that for them. Okay, so New York Giants, another quarterback needed team. What do you know? We could go a lot of different directions here. I think that pairing up Mason Graham with Dexter Lawrence would be absolutely insane. I think going and getting Will Johnson potentially could be a really good fit, who I have as a blue chip prospect. You can obviously use Will Campbell. Look, I think he can play tackle. I think he can play guard. I think he may be able to play center as well. I project him best at guard, but I still have a first round grade on him as a tackle. So that's definitely a direction we can go. When you talk about edge, there's nobody else personally for me at edge that I would be taking this high. Malachi Starks for me at safety is a blue chip prospect, but you just drafted Tyler Nubin, and I think you have a decent situation there. I'm looking pretty hard at Will Johnson right now. I think that's the direction I would go for the New York Giants. And again, we don't have the advantage of knowing what they've done in free agency. So right now, their biggest need, I think, outside of quarterback, which we don't feel comfortable, is corner, and we have a blue chip prospect in Will Johnson. So that's the direction we're going to go with that pick. At 4, the Patriots. I've wanted to pair them up with Will Campbell for a long time. We've done that in mock drafts before. I think it just makes too much sense for them. I think whether he's playing tackle or guard, he is so smart, and I do think he has like plus starter potential at tackle. I think he has all pro potential at guard. So whatever you want to do here, I think Will Campbell, it's a good pick. I think getting that offensive lineman up front to help Drake May out is a really good decision here, and then you can address some other needs later on. Get him another pass catcher or two. You could obviously go T-Mac at that spot, Luther Burden. So Jaguars sitting here in an interesting situation. The top 2 corners, if you're talking about Travis Hunter as a corner, are off the board. You obviously could use Mason Graham in my mind. I think you could really use Tedero McMillan. Those would be the top 2 considerations probably for me. Ashton Genty is a blue chip prospect for me, but I don't think the Jaguars should be going running back at 5 with the depth of this running back class. I love Ashton Genty, but I just don't know that's the direction you go here. Malachi Starks, again, he's a blue chip prospect for me. Tyler Warren also is a blue chip prospect. I mocked Tyler Warren to the Jaguars here earlier today. That wasn't a predictive or what I would do. I just do so many mocks for the Jaguars that I was just trying to come up with something a little spicy that they could do. So what I would specifically do here, T-Mac is just outside of being blue chip for me. I would love to see T-Mac and Brian Thomas Jr. catching passes from Trevor Lawrence with Liam Cohen dialing it up, though. So that's where we're going to go. Tedero McMillan. Look, I love Mason Graham, but for me, Mason Graham, when you have Eric Armstead, you have Mason Smith developing, he would be the best of the bunch for you, but I think you feel pretty good about the interior. Eric Armstead did not play on the interior last year. He played edge, so getting him back on the inside, having Mason Smith develop, I think you can feel all right. And Devon Hamilton's still there. You can't forget about him either. I think he could have a bigger year, being one more year removed from the medical situation that he had. So getting to the Las Vegas Raiders here, this is a huge pick for them. Obviously, they've been heavily tied to Shedeur Sanders. Cam Ward and Shedeur are both still on the board. Again, I just don't view them in this range. Who is available that I would feel really good about? Mason Graham, pairing him up with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby. I mean, goodness gracious. You think Pete Carroll might like that? Patrick Graham might like that? I don't know how to best try to compete in the AFC West. It is a really difficult challenge, but I think you could do a lot worse than drafting a blue chip interior defensive lineman who projects as a versatile guy, who can play up and down the line a little bit for you and also just be really stout, 3-down player, good against the run, developing pass rush skill set, super flexible and explosive. Give the Raiders Mason Graham there. So, at 7 for the New York Jets. We've got some options. Kelvin Banks for me, I know a lot of people talk about him in this range. I don't see that. Like, if you're going to go tackle, I'd be looking at Josh Simmons. That's really the only guy this high for me in this range. And he's coming off the injury. So I think we've got to kind of pivot, look at some other spots that we could maybe address. I think Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, they absolutely deserve to be high up on draft boards. This high, I don't know. Two very different styles of player as well. So that would certainly be interesting. I do have James Pierce Jr. in this range. It's a little bit high for him. So yeah, that's tough. Luther Burden, certainly I have in this range as well. He's 11 on my board. James Pierce Jr. is 9 on my board. Malachi Starks is still available at 7 on my board. So these are the types of guys we're talking about. Tough call. You can't go Genty. Tyler Warren, maybe they should have taken Brock Bowers last year. Maybe they can make up for it by getting the ultra versatile weapon, Tyler Warren. It's still going to be such an interesting offseason for the Jets. I love getting Aaron Glenn in there, but what are they going to do regarding quarterback, all that stuff? I don't know. Let's go Tyler Warren. He is the highest ranked player for me. Him and Malachi Starks right there. Panthers, last time I did a mock draft here, I got yelled at by all the Panthers fans for taking an offensive player. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go defense, and then I'll probably get yelled at for taking the wrong guy, right? That's kind of how it goes. But I think Panthers fans are right in that the defense is just atrocious. But they're going to have some cap flexibility to potentially add some guys throughout free agency. But we're still going to take a look at the defense here, see if we can figure something out that makes a lot of sense. To me, Michael Williams, he's just such a project as a pass rusher. I don't have him in this range. James Pierce Jr., as I mentioned, is in this range. Malachi Starks is in this range. Ashton Genty, I know we can't go there. Can't do the running back because of Chuba Hubbard. And you got a second-year running back who's had 2 straight ACLs, but we can't do that. So we're going to go James Pierce Jr., who is kind of in the mold of Brian Burns, who they decided to ship off, but I think that he actually has a little bit more juice, a little bit more explosiveness, and a little more potential to be a higher impact run defender more consistently, even though I don't think that's going to be his calling card. I think you're drafting him to get after the quarterback, but I think you might have a little bit less variance in James Pierce Jr.'s ability to hold up at the point than Brian Burns did. New Orleans Saints, again, if this was predictive, I'd be like, yeah, it's going to be Michael Williams. It's going to be Nick Scorton, Shamar Stewart, one of these guys. I don't have them that high on the board, so we've got to look in some different directions here. I think that Luther Burden would be fantastic for them, pairing him up with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Burden can be a 3-level threat, physical as all get out. I'd be a big fan of that for them. You look at safety, obviously Tyrann Mathieu up there in years, without question. This is an interesting pick. Interesting pick here. My board would tell me Ashton Genty, Luther Burden. But obviously the Saints have Kamara. Malachi Starks. We'll go Malachi. I mean, he can be a versatile chess piece on the back, and he played a lot of nickel this year. I think he could play outside corner for you if you really wanted. So that's just a really, really dang good football player that Saints fans are going to grow to love. Chicago Bears, this is a spot where I would love to see, let's see, Tyler Booker I've seen there. I would love that one. He's a little bit lower. Josh Simmons, to me, would be the best pick for them. I think he projects as the best true left tackle in this class. I know he's coming off the injury, but you're not drafting him for September of 2025. You're drafting him to protect Caleb Williams long-term and help create push in the run game and get out in space and help in the run game in that regard as well. So Josh Simmons, I love that for the Bears. He would have been a good fit for the 49ers as well, who could be looking edge, could be looking OT. Do I have anybody in mind here that really makes a lot of sense? It's interesting. And I have heard folks talk about, Ashton Genty to the 49ers. I think that they're so good at getting running back production. I don't think that that's the direction they should go. Luther Burden is my 11 player, and he's available here at 11. What he could do in that 49ers system, and obviously they've addressed receiver pretty heavily, but it does look like might be moving in a different direction with Debo, and Luther Burden could do a lot of Debo-ish things. I'm not saying he's the next Debo, but he's got some similar traits, some similar characteristics. Unbelievable at the catch point, super explosive football player, well-built lower half. Do it. Luther Burden off the board for San Francisco 49ers. Dallas Cowboys, what are we going to do here? Are we going to go the Ashton Genty route? My board says they should. And, that's their top need. So let's just do it. Typical mock draft here, Ashton Genty, the Cowboys. And Malachi Starks is typically one of the guys you see going to the Miami Dolphins. That's not going to happen here. But you do have Armand Membu I feel really good about. I think it's slightly early for him. Walter Nolan would be fantastic. Kenneth Grant would be great. Yeah, I'm going to go defense here. I'm going to go defense here, and I'm going to get them Walter Nolan, who I just think has the most potential to impact games in the biggest moments, which those are usually going to be, third and medium to third and long. Teams having to throw the football to try to come back and try to win a football game at the end there. So Walter Nolan, unbelievably explosive with, he can play with great leverage. Got a bag of pass rush moves already. Indianapolis Colts, tight end is the top need here. They're picking at 14. I have Colston Loveland at 13, so that's an easy pairing. Obviously, he's not Tyler Warren in terms of his physicality, but Colston Loveland is an easy mover. He's got great length, great hands, a really good route runner at his size. I think it's match made in heaven there for the Colts. Atlanta Falcons. Edge is always the need for the Falcons in the first round, isn't it? It seems like every single year, every time we talk about this. Starting to get into a range where I could feel more comfortable, certainly with a Nick Scorton or Shamar Stewart or a Michael Williams. So personally, I have Scorton the highest on my board out of those guys. He's just absolutely massive and crazy flexibility at his size. Got a dirty spin move. He's the most productive of the bunch. Yeah, let's go Nick Scorton to the Atlanta Falcons. Love that fit there. The Cardinals, they also need edge. And again, I think it's a decent range for Shamar Stewart, Michael Williams. I know Mike Green has a ton of buzz. I think it's early. I really do think it's early for that. Let's go Shamar Stewart. I think he's just a little bit crazier physically. But you could go either direction there. Shamar Stewart, Michael Williams. And then this is just a run of teams that really need edge players. I think Michael Williams for the Bengals would make a lot of sense because they have Trey Hendrickson, who is more of that just get after the pass, get after the quarterback, get after the pass rush. Michael Williams brings a little more balance, and you're hoping you can develop the pass rush a little bit more, but he's going to really help you out setting the edge and just being an explosive physical football player that can make some pretty incredible plays. I like that fit for them. Al Golden coaching them up there. Seattle Seahawks, what are we looking at? Offensive tackle, interior offensive line. I think this is starting to be a good range for Armand Membu. Oh, Tyler Booker. IOL. I don't care if he can play tackle or not. You're plugging him in. With him and Christian Haynes at guard, I love that. Absolutely love Tyler Booker's physicality, his length, strength, and his leadership. Okay, so we're starting to get into a range where like quarterback could make sense, and I'm not saying that for the Buccaneers or the Denver Broncos, just kind of reminding myself here. Starting to get into a range where I feel like if you take a swing on quarterback and it doesn't really work out, it's not the end of the world, just because of the draft capital and value. You're starting to feel like you're in a better place. I'm kind of looking at quarterback for Pittsburgh potentially here. And again, this is not predictive at all. I expect both of these quarterbacks to come off the board in the top 10. This is what I would do. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where are we at? Where are we at? Talking about edge. Everybody's talking about edge. Siobhan Ravel would be a perfect fit here if he was not coming off the knee. Again, you're not drafting him for September of 2025. You're drafting him long term. Let's let the board talk to us a little bit here. Jalen Walker is such an interesting one. I can't get on board with him this high. I just can't do it personally. So, is Chris Godwin sticking around in Tampa? It seems like everyone down there feels like he is. If you lose Chris Godwin, though, obviously receiver should be in play. I'm just not feeling edge. I could go Siobhan Ravel. I could, absolutely. Let's do it. I know he's coming off the injury, but there's not a freakier prospect at corner this year. 6'3", great length, great closing speed, athleticism. He was already playing for the Pirates. I mean, come on. Come on. Okay, Denver Broncos. How are we going to help out Bo Nix here? That's my goal. Tight end, it's a little early for me looking at the board, it's Elijah Arroyo and Mason Taylor. And then a little bit of a drop-off. Wide receiver, Matthew Golden. Yes. This is the perfect area, perfect range for Matthew Golden, in my opinion. Texas wide receiver, had an incredible year this year. Very productive at Houston before that. He's explosive. He's a route runner. Ball tracking skills down the field. Can adjust really well. Got great body control. He has jumped Emeka Egbuka for me, but not by a whole lot. Ibuka's still right there. Now, the Steelers, Cam Ward, could that be it? Could that be the pick? I always talk about these negatives of these quarterbacks. Cam Ward has unbelievable playmaking ability with his legs and the ability to throw off platform and with odd arm angles. Let's go Cam Ward. Let's take a swing for the Steelers. Los Angeles Chargers, where are we looking here? Top 2 tight ends are off the board. Defensive, let's just give him Kenneth Grant. Come on. Kenneth Grant's an awesome football player. He's 340 pounds. He's already played for Jim Harbaugh before. He's played for his new defensive coordinator here. Again, Jesse Minter in Michigan. So I like that fit a lot, and they need it. So Green Bay Packers, they need corner. They need edge. Is there a corner that really fits them? I mean, I think Jahdae Barron is fine in this range. Benjamin Morrison, I'm a little lower on. I love Azareye'h Thomas, but you got to be a press man team to make the most out of his skill set, in my mind. I'm good with going Jahdae Barron. Like that fit a lot. Okay. Minnesota Vikings. Need corner, need defensive line. What's new? Trey Amos, I think, in this range. Maxwell Harrison in this range. Azareye'h, again, if you're going to be running press man. But there's a lot of good defensive linemen here. I feel really good about this spot. Let's go Let's go Derek Harmon. Or no, Tyleek Williams. I have Tyleek Williams rated a little higher. I think he's more explosive, got like a significantly higher ceiling than Derek Harmon, in my opinion. Tyleek Williams. I think he can play the run and also give you juice as a pass rusher. Houston Texans. This is going to be a fun one. Obviously, they're going to do their best to upgrade the offensive line coaching. They struggled in that department this past year in offensive coaching in general. But they also need to upgrade personnel on the interior. Gray Zabel, staring me right in the face right there. I love the guy. Love what he brings. And I'm just not in on Kelvin Banks. I know people are probably sitting here, why are you taking Kelvin Banks? I really worry about his balance issues. He falls off blocks like nobody else in this class. Armand Membu is a great value here too. I think that as much as I would love to just take Zabel, I'm going to give them Armand Membu, and he has potentially tackle guard versatility, so you can just figure out what you need and what works best for you there. Los Angeles Rams probably take an offensive tackle. You know, it would be early for Cameron Williams, but selfishly, I've just really wanted to see Cam Williams with those interior guys that they have just absolutely wrecking shop up front on the defensive line. But honestly, it's early for me for any of these offensive tackles. It really is. Josh Connerly, in my mind, has the most upside as like a true left tackle pass protector guy, type of guy. So that might be the pick. But I would just love to see Cam Williams on this offensive line. Is there anywhere else we should go here? Because as much as I want to marry need and value, I don't feel like this is the best spot for a tackle. You see corner, you see linebacker. There's a linebacker I'd be a pretty big fan of taking right here. I'll tell you what. And he is pick 75 according to NFL Mock Draft Database. Carson Schwarzenegger, he's such a stud. And, you know, he already plays in UCLA. He's not going to have to travel far. Just pack his bags and kind of move over from campus to the Los Angeles Rams and be good to go. Easy packing up that locker, I'll tell you what. Schwarzenegger, though, he's one of the most gifted coverage linebackers I've ever seen. Just his... I think it's natural instincts, but obviously it's got to come from studying as well. His feet in coverage, it's so impressive to watch. Like he is constantly just reading and and feeling, and he has to get so much depth in coverage at UCLA. I mean, he's also a really sound tackler, a really good athlete. Yeah, sign me up for Carson Schwarzenegger all day. I do have a top 32 grade on him this year, so I do think that's a perfect kind of direction or landing spot for him. Baltimore Ravens need offensive tackle, need edge. You know, Mike Green, maybe in this spot, Mike Green. I think it's a little rich. You know, Jalen Walker kind of feels like a Ravens type of guy as well. But again, I'm trying to do what I would do, and that's not the direction I would go. Looking at this team, man, there's a lot of different directions we could go here. The Ravens almost always pick somebody that I'm like, yep, I would have made that pick too. Let's go Emeka Egbuka. He's a great value at this spot. The Ravens, is wide receiver their biggest need? No. But could they still use more weapons to try to make sure that there's no chance that they're going to get stopped on the offensive side of the ball in these big moments, that Lamar Jackson has more reliable weapons? Yeah, I think so. Emeka Egbuka. Unbelievably reliable football player. Detroit Lions. Their interior offensive line's up there in age. Cornerback could definitely use a Trey Amos, Max Harrison, Derek Harmon. Makes a lot of sense for them. We're going to go spicy here. We're going to go spicy. Darius Alexander feels like a Detroit Lion. That guy is a wrecking ball. Interior defensive lineman. They've got stout guys in the middle. They've got Aiden Hutchinson coming back next year. Darius Alexander is going to make it hell for opposing quarterbacks and just be so explosive into that backfield. And I do have a top 32 grade on him, and I think that's a great fit. Darius Alexander, the Detroit Lions. All right, Washington Commanders could definitely upgrade the offensive line, could definitely upgrade the defense in a big way. I would actually love Princely Umanmielen in this spot. I think that his combination of size, length, strength, athleticism, pass rush skill set, but can also set the edge, that guy, that signed me up. Princely Umanmielen. Love that for them. All right. Buffalo Bills at 30. What can help get them over the top against the Kansas City Chiefs? Oh, Lord. What a difficult question to answer. Difficult question to answer. I'll tell you what, I think Xavier Watts really feels like a Buffalo Bills safety. I've liked that fit kind of a lot for a while. I do have him in this range. Derek Harmon, I think, could be a 3-down interior defensive lineman you feel really good about, who can give you some pass rush, and certainly the way he can lock out against the run, read and react is pretty impressive. Good size, good length, good explosiveness. Yeah, let's go Derek Harmon. Get them a big boy. All right, Philadelphia Eagles. Who are they going to steal? They always land a steal, don't they? And again, this big board here is not reflective of my big board. We're starting to get into a range for Shedeur Sanders, but these teams, they don't need quarterback. Who are they going to steal? Do we have an edge that we're just like, yeah? Donovan Ezraku, man, he's in this range for me. He would be a great pick for them. Length, athleticism, plays physical, maybe has the best pass rush plan in this class. Okay, I got it. Gray Zabel getting coached up at Stoutland University. Gray Zabel comes off the board in the first round out of North Dakota State. Played tackle for them. I'm projecting him inside to guard. I think that would just be a great, great fit for the... It's like, they can't keep doing this. Okay. Chiefs, they need a tackle. We know that. But I'm saying maybe you just keep your boy Joe Thuney out there at left tackle. He's been playing good football. Defensive line listed here. I don't think they actually really need defensive line. They've done a really good job, and they still have Chris Jones there. Let's reference the big board. That's what it's here for. You know, they've gotten a lot out of Kareem Hunt, and Isaiah Pacheco's taken a little bit of a back seat. They could use a corner. Do we have a corner in mind here? Yeah, I don't mind that idea. Azareé Thomas makes a lot of sense, I think, for the way that Spags likes to coach football. Let's do it. Azareé Thomas off the board to the Chiefs. What a fun mock draft Monday this is. I know it's pretty spicy, but again, it's what I would do. This is not predictive. I think these quarterbacks are going to come off the board way earlier than I would personally feel comfortable with. But we've got Abdul Carter to the Titans at 1, Travis Hunter to the Browns at 2, Will Johnson to the Giants at 3, Will Campbell to the Patriots at 4, T-Mac, Tedero, McMillan to the Jaguars at 5, Mason Graham to the Raiders at 6, Tyler Warren to the Jets at 7, James Pierce Jr. to the Carolina Panthers at 8, Malachi Starks to the Saints at 9, Josh Simmons at 10 to the Chicago Bears, Luther Burden to the San Francisco 49ers at 11, Ashton Genty to the Cowboys, the chalkiest pick of them all, Walter Nolan to the Miami Dolphins at 13, Colson Loveland to the Colts at 14, at 15, Nick Scorton, the Atlanta Falcons, they finally go get themselves an edge in the first round. 16, Shamar Stewart to the Arizona Cardinals, Michael Williams to the Bengals at 17, Tyler Booker to the Seahawks at 18, Siobhan Ravel to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 19, Matthew Golden to the Broncos at 20, Cam Ward, our first quarterback off the board and only quarterback off the board in the first round, to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21, Kenneth Grant to the Chargers at 22, Jahdae Barron to the Packers at 23, Tyleik Williams to the Minnesota Vikings at 24, Armand Mambu to the Texans at 25, Carson Schlesinger to the Rams at 26, Emeka Ibuka to the Baltimore Ravens at 27. Always getting a value they are. 28, Detroit Lions, Darius Alexander. 29, Princely Umanmielen to the Commanders. At 30, Derek Harmon to the Bills. At 31, Gray Zabel to the Philadelphia Eagles. And at 32, Azaria Thomas to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Really appreciate y'all tuning in, supporting the channel. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Y'all have a good one.